Hello to you. Well, it's Friday morning, time for the weekly Wealth Insight. You can see I'm sitting with my partner Ken Williams, and we're in an Uber. We love Ubers because we love technology and we love disruption. So we're in interesting times. Coronavirus is now a pandemic. Everyone's talking about it. As they say, coronavirus spreads faster by WhatsApp than anything else, which is all about the fear mentality. And what I wanted to talk about this week was what I've learned in the 20 odd years of investing myself is that people have made the most money actually when there's chaos. You know, there's those sayings that when there's blood on the streets, that's the time to operate. Warren Buffett says, when others are excited, get scared, and when others are scared, get excited. And it's clearly, one of those times where we're getting pretty scared at the moment. The world's getting pretty scared. And I suppose one of the things that I've learned, if I go back to even the last crash, is that I just wish I could have persuaded more people that the fundamentals of investing, the fundamentals of real estate don't change. Some of the best opportunities I've ever seen in my life, and whether I'll ever see them again or not, I don't know. If we could have taken advantage, but the problem is people got scared. Now, Ken, from your perspective, you've worked in emerging markets, you've worked in places as far afield as Russia. What's been your experience from a 20 years or plus investment banking experience between this whole follow the crowd, versus scarcity, abundance, and markets in turmoil?
Yeah, so it's interesting. These sorts of events are what they would term black swans. So, the coronavirus is a black swan event. The difficulty is we can't make head or tail of how bad it's going to get. So the first thing that happens is if you foresee the black swan and you plan for the black swan, then which are the sectors of the industry that are going to be affected? And clearly things like air travel, things like events, and stocks and shares related to those are going to get hit worst. What is going to benefit? Well, people are going to move into quality, so they're going to go into government debt, they're going to go into gold, and so on. What does that mean? Well, if you have a look at the knock that you've had since the start of this, really against those stocks, the bounce or the rally is going to come back into those stocks. So the sectors you've got to choose quite carefully as to where you might want to go. My point with this is the unforeseen now, the black swan on the other side of this is probably an antidote, an antivirus. Because the moment that happens, how do you discount that globally? I mean, how quickly can that be disseminated, and how quickly does that reverse everything? And so what you would be doing at the moment is bottom trawling those sectors. You'd be looking for most discounted benefits for the best pop on the basis of what I've just said. Now, bear in mind, property, real estate, which is what we're in, is the stalwart, bricks and mortar. So there should be big benefit in the real estate sector. What you've got to look at is break that up and decide when this is resolved, who's going to benefit most.
Yeah,
try and look at it from that perspective.
It's interesting. It's so interesting when I listen to Ken talking in the what I'm going to refer to as investment banking language. What he's referring to is simple and basic fundamentals. And to dumb it down even further, some of the fundamentals I've learned in really tough, chaotic times is you look for assets that produce income. So a good example of that, gold. People would say like gold's a good store of value. Yep, I'm not arguing that, but it doesn't pay you an income. Whereas good property pays you an income. Now, I'm not saying property is the only thing, but finding assets. Warren Buffett and my uncle invest in Coca-Cola because it's in 100 plus countries and it's diversified and it pays income. That's why they invest. And so really for me, you've got to go back to the fundamentals. Simple, basic things, like Ken said, things that have tangible value and that pay you an income. And in chaotic times, whether it's Zimbabwe or Argentina or Russia, it's the basics that actually work and stand the test of time. And if you can see through the short-term chaos, that's where opportunity actually presents itself. And so I leave you with one thought. In 2008, 2009, we had the big crash and property markets lost and stock markets lost. But great companies were also built. Companies like Airbnb and Uber were built because people's necessity changed. So, they always say people move 4 times more away from pain than they do towards pleasure. And so when you're getting geometric cultural shifts, it tends to happen in pain, not in abundance. And so also look at an opportunity like this in terms of long-term trends as to what's going to change. To Ken's point, who's going to come out on the other side? How is this going to enable and create people to be winners on the other side? And that's, these are the thought processes that you need to think about. And one of the reasons we do these weekly Wealth Insights is not scaremongering, is to share the knowledge, to share the information so that you too can make informed decisions about yourself. The one thing that I think is important I believe that we're in a sector now where, you know, I love the metaphor that Willem van der Post said a couple of years ago when we were on stage. He says the problem with the herd is it's like a bunch of buffalo on the plains of Africa, and they're all chilling on the plains, and they're all drinking the water, and they're eating their grass, and suddenly one gets stung on the bum by a bee, and it goes ah, and it literally runs off at full speed, and the one next to it, Ken in this case, looks up at his mate and he thinks he must have seen a lion, and he absolutely shits himself and off he runs, and the guy next to him thinks, oh my word, we're about to die, and that's herd mentality. The next thing, the entire herd is charging across the plains of Africa. And your question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to be part of the herd, or are you actually going to be a lion? Someone with power, someone with individual courage, someone that's going to take your own choices, take your own opportunities. And it's that type of mentality which is going to change your destiny in times like this. And so take that on board. If you are interested, we've literally got breakfasts around the country next week for people to come along and to learn. Yes, we will be fist pumping each other and not handshaking. How does it go, Ken? Fist bumps. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. We want to empower 1 billion people, and maybe in the next decade with economic, political, and what do you call this, environmental shifts. These are the type of things that are going to make it happen. For our wealth partners, we look forward to seeing you at our evening events, so we can really talk about these things. And we've got someone like Garth Wellman coming to really talk about generational wealth. And it's in times like this that people like Ken Williams, people like Garth Wellman, they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it, and they can really share good guidance as to what's happening in the world markets and what to do. Enjoy. Cheers.